Hey, this is Liz from People I Think Are Cool, a bi-weekly podcast where I interview my favorite creatives from across the globe. If you're looking for a dose of creative inspiration, then go to peopleithinkarecool.com or subscribe to People I Think Are Cool on iTunes and Stitcher.
You like film, from cult to classic, from blockbuster to B-movies. And there just isn't that one place with all the fan fervor and passion that's covering the kind of mad, diverse brilliance that you love.
Well, that's where you're wrong.
AfterMovieDiner.com is that fan-built movie nirvana just for you, featuring the sweet, sweet writings of the wife dork herself. AfterMovieDiner.com. Go there. Be the best you can be.
You are listening to the In the Mouth of Dorkness podcast, the official podcast of the Alamo Drafthouse, Winchester.
Welcome to another edition of the ItModcast podcast. Joining us is Brian Young, the Turtle Dork.
Happy Friday, folks.
Yep. And also joining us is Lisa Gullickson, wife dork.
I didn't read all of the instructions.
Whoops. And Brad Gullickson, mouth dork.
I did, and I've got a fishful of wishes ready to go.
I see what you did there. Because I'm your host, Darren Smith, the Disco Dork, and welcome to another edition of the ItModcast podcast. Fistful Friday.
Sad. Brian was so upset. Did you see him burn all his Blu-rays of Game of Thrones? He was so mad. He signed the petition.
He
Signed the petition.
I had to burn it all, man.
But did you have to go action and say Jakaris when you burned it, when you threw the match? I did.
That was a great TikTok you put together.
I did it for the gram.
Oh, okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, now that we are live post Game of Thrones, we have to get back to our normal business of things, and that is our Fistful Fridays. And in honor of the release of Brian's second favorite film of 2019 so far, Aladdin, we have a fistful of... Did I say fish again? I got fish on the brain. We have a fist full of wishes.
Yeah.
All right. So, Brian, would you be so kind as to start us off with your first fish?
Yes. So this one was actually something that was scheduled to happen, and it never did. This was when we were supposed to get a Stephen Chow directed Green Hornet movie with Stephen Chow as the sidekick. Oh goodness, Kato. I'm so sorry.
Damn.
It's been a long day. Anyway, Kato. Yeah. Kato.
All right, so you want
X that out.
That's your wish?
No, but my wish was that Stephen Chow could have directed it. Of course, we got it. It was directed by Michel Gondry, who I like some of his previous films, but that movie, man, it just did not do it for me.
Incorrect.
Have you rewatched it? I'm with Brad.
Really?
Well, I've always liked this from the first go, but I rewatched it recently. That movie's still good to me.
I really like that movie.
Right?
Really?
I do.
Okay.
You can borrow my Blu-ray.
I
may have the 3D Blu-ray. You can come over and watch it in 3D.
I may have to rewatch that. Either way, I would have loved to have seen Stephen Chow's version
absolutely.
of Green Hornet, coming off of like Kung Fu Hustle and Shaolin Soccer and all the movies that he's done. And yeah, just to see his take and his style with the Green Hornet, and for him to be in it as Kato alongside Seth Rogen, I thought it would have been a lot of fun. So yeah, that's my number 5.
That's a good one. Wife dork, you're number 5.
We have a text chain, an ItMod text chain, and the fistful was decided this morning. And it's not like I'm making excuses, but I did happen to be at work, so I didn't read the whole text. So now I have a fistful of movies with wishes in them. So
because you're the overachiever, you always
that is
outdo us.
underachieving.
No, that's really good. You put a lot of thought into that.
I am like the student who sat down to take the test, and the first instruction on the test was to not take the test, and I'm the kid sweating finishing the test. I didn't read the instructions, and I haven't learned my lesson.
So what's your number 5?
You're smarter.
But to make up for it, I'll also do a fistful of fishes. So my number 5 fish is going to be Cleo from Pinocchio, the goldfish.
Okay.
And then my number 5 is actually a tie, since Aladdin is technically a Disney film, so I thought of 2 other Disney films that also contained wishes. And one of them is Ariel from The Little Mermaid. Wish I could be part of that. Right? She wanted to be part of that world.
Yep.
With the people. She wanted to use her dingle hopper.
Oh.
What?
She wanted to dance on legs.
She's got a dingle hopper?
Dingle hopper? Is that like a
Look down,
Is
Brian.
that like a seahorse?
It's something. It's like
If that's what you call yours. God damn.
Oh, okay.
All right, Big Richie.
all I'm saying is don't let your friend the seagull touch it because he's just gonna mishandle it.
Whoops.
And then, of course, my other Disney wish was Pinocchio's wish to be a real boy. And then later in the film, his wish to stop turning into a donkey and horrifying me as a child.
Oh.
I'm calling Brian the seahorse.
No, I didn't know.
That's what everybody else calls it.
I thought you like actually ride this.
Hey,
I mean,
ride that pony.
if the mood hits you.
Ride that seahorse.
I'm sorry.
I think Brian is like a seahorse because, 1, ladies, he mates for life, and 2, he'll carry your babies.
Oh, that's what seahorses do?
Yeah, the men give birth.
Oh, God.
Yeah. See?
I think that shit comes down to a scientist pointing at a seahorse and going like, "That's a male seahorse," and suddenly it starts giving birth, and then like, well, the male seahorses give birth.
Right.
I could be. I would make a great marine biologist.
Yes, you would. All right,
Oh, my
Brad.
God.
You follow that shit up. You're number 5.
So my number 5. So I've rubbed my magic
Dingle
fish,
hopper.
my dingle hopper. After I rub my dingle hopper, I get my 5th wish, and so my wishes go from least to favorite. And my number 5 is this is something that actually has also been talked about, has not happened, but may happen since the John Wick movies are doing gangbusters.
Okay.
Past weekend, John Wick Chapter 3 made $50 million, a lot of money. And my first Fistful of Wish, Dingle Hopper wish is that David Leitch and Chad Stahelski come back together to direct Atomic Blonde versus John Wick.
Yeah.
And what that is a prequel to the original John Wick, and we learn how he gets the name of Baba Yaga. It's got to be set in the 90s. You got to do that Marvel de-aging, and that way the timeline comes together.
Yeah, that's the thing.
And this is an idea that I stole from physics because he was talking about this earlier at the John Wick triple feature at the Alamo, and he mentioned that. And I thought that's a great idea. And so for my first wish off of my Dingle Hopper and my Fistful of Wishes would be to make that happen.
I like that.
Because that would be an amazing looking movie.
John Wick versus
Atomic Blonde.
Can Sophia be in it?
Yeah, Sophia can be in it. Yeah, it's my wish, but I mean, I'd have to like when Thanos snaps, you got to have all those thoughts in your head. When you're snapping.
So is there going to be a definitive winner, or is it like
Freddy versus Jason,
or is it like
team
Batman
up?
v Superman where they team up at the end?
I would say a team up.
I think it's a lot of fighting between the two, and then I think Atomic Blonde would own a young John Wick, no problem, and they would.
Because in that
team
time
up or
period, she
pass
would have
the
been
baton.
doing it longer than a younger John Wick.
Right. Oh yeah, she's the superior fighter at this point in
Yeah,
time, and
yeah.
probably could still kick John Wick's ass. Because in my idea, that would lead into a John Wick Chapter 5. This is after Chapter 4. So if Chapter 4 goes into Atomic Blonde versus John Wick, that leads into John Wick Chapter 5 with old Charlize Theron,
I was thinking
where
that,
we've
yeah.
aged her into like they did with Haley Atwell and Peggy Carter. She can still kick ass.
All right. All right.
Yeah, I believe it.
Good number 5. It just made me do an audible on my wish. Now I'm going to be freestyling. This is coming together. This wish is coming together as I'm saying it right now. Because I only just got the idea.
You got to be careful when you're freestyling wishes.
Right.
Bad things can happen.
And bad things can happen, and probably will because of me. So I will see your Stahelski and Leach Atomic Blonde versus John Wick and raise you a Stahelski and Leach, or just Stahelski, and helming a reboot of the Expendables to include John Wick, to include Atomic Blonde, to include Sophia.
Yeah.
This is where it's still coming together. To include Eco UIs, to include the two dudes from the Rays, and to include Scott Adkins.
Yeah. And exclude all the other Expendables.
Yeah, no. No, and to also include The Rock. Because I want like the new
But no Schwarzenegger, no Dolph, no Chuck Norris.
They had their go. They have their film.
And is this one going to be good?
Stahelski's directing this one.
Okay, yeah.
Who did the first one? Who did the other one?
Stallone directed the first one, and then Simon West directed.
Right, so Stahelski's going to be directing this one, right? So yeah, because I felt like when I was watching John Wick for the second time on Sunday, I was in that sequence in Morocco when Halle Berry was going through there. I was like, God damn, man! Like she should do. And could do and should have been doing like action movies, right? And if there were another Expendables, and I'm looking at John Wick at that point, I'm thinking like, man, well, he's done action films before John Wick, but with this franchise, like I could see like if they were to do an Expendables, like why would he not be able to take a place on that cast, right? He has earned the right to do that. And then I was like, well, fuck everybody else. Let's put at least Sophia and John Wick in there. And because they've proven them. So Halle Berry has proven herself in that film that she is so good at action, both like shooting and fighting. So I don't know. This is just my fandom. I'm still going on. I haven't let go of what she's done in that film in John Wick 3. And I just want more of her. My hope is that her character returns for a fourth film because of fan outcry and support. And hey, I'm going to start a petition to have her be in the next John Wick film. So sign that petition. That's my number 5 wish. My number 5 fish would be the puffer fish from Finding Nemo. Brian, you're number 4.
So number 4 for me, I'm going to Quentin Tarantino, and I have always wanted, and I don't know if this would be called Kill Bill Volume 3, but for me, I want to see BB versus Nakia.
It's like Jeopardy. You have to say, I wish.
I wish I could see BB versus Nakia, the two kids. Jesus. So Nakia, who was the daughter of Vivica Fox's character, who saw her mother get killed by Beatrix Kiddo, and she tells her, it's like, I understand, but it's like, but when you're ready, come see me. And of course, when she gets her daughter back, BB, so I could see Nakia getting older and having that vengeance to get revenge against the death of her mother.
So it'd be like Kill Beatrix.
Kill Beatrix. Interesting. That's a nice little play on words. Doesn't rhyme, but a nice little play on words. I like it.
I'm not here to rhyme.
And then, of course, when Nakia gets older, she would, of course, be trained by the blind Daryl Hannah.
Love it. Yeah.
And and then and she would, and this is how Beatrix would probably get her demise. She would be killed off, and then we would have the back and forth, the verses with BB and Nakia.
Who wins, though?
I don't know. I don't know. I was trying to think who I wanted them to play. I think now, as far as Nakia, I could see Zazie Beetz.
No.
That's his wish, where it's Zazie Beetz is all of the characters.
No.
And she's just kicking people.
Well, she has to win then. She can't die. What about that girl
she's
from...
wearing a tasteful
she's in this new movie with the...
Yara from Blackish.
The girl from Blackish?
Yeah, the girl from Blackish. She, I could see that.
Can you throw a Phoebe Robinson in there?
Phoebe Robin as BB?
Yeah. And a Jessica Williams.
Phoebe Cates?
From Two Dope Queens.
The Two Dope Queens.
Okay.
You should have both of the Dope Queens. I'm just hijacking.
Killing each other?
Right?
No, I mean, look, Tarantino knows how to cast, so whoever he cast, I'm down for, but I don't
he
know.
should consult you, considering it's
your wish, right?
Yeah, but I would love to see. He's always flirted with the idea of Kill Bill Volume 3.
Why won't you use one of your... Why have this wish include, I wish that I could direct Tarantino's script? You wouldn't want to direct it?
Oh, no. I'll leave this to Tarantino. I would give him the idea. If he doesn't already have it, I'll produce it. But I want to see Tarantino's
Obviously,
touch on
the first thing Brian would do would wish for more wishes.
Well, of course. You have to. You have to.
Yeah.
But, BB versus Nakia.
Okay. Lisa, your number 4, wish and fish.
My number 4 fish are the fish in the fish tank between Claire Danes and Leonardo DiCaprio in Romeo plus Juliet.
Oh, yeah.
Never seen it.
Damn, Brad.
You should should watch it. It's weird that I like that movie
What
so
year did
much
that movie
and
come
somehow
out
do
in?
not like Brick.
96, 97.
Is that still awesome?
Yeah, around that, yeah.
Oh man, could that be a still awesome? I would host the shit out of that. Yes.
Put a pin in that.
Yeah. My number 4 wish is Kevin McAllister wishing he didn't have a family in Home Alone. Which is the reason. So when his family disappears, he feels like his wish has come true and it's awesome. But then when the wet bandits are like, we're going to go to that house and kill that kid, he's like, maybe I wish I did have a family. And he finally goes to church.
Something we did not mention in Detective Pikachu review was how the film within a film from Home Alone is playing in his dad's apartment.
Yeah.
Angels with dirty faces.
Angels with dirty faces.
Another thing
filthy
we
animal.
didn't talk about Pikachu movie. What is it called?
Detective Pikachu.
Detective Pikachu. Is I thought it was creepy that Mewtwo was just totally smooth downstairs.
Oh, all right.
That's my number 4.
All right. Brad, your number 4.
I so want to change my wish now. But, this is where things are going to get a little weird, people.
All right.
Brad's got the magic fish, the dingle hopper. And he gets to wish what he wants to wish about. And, I love Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I think it's like the best version of the Spider-Man characters that we've seen on screen. And it gave me an idea, something I've always wanted to see, and a way to make it happen, because I just never thought about dimensions. So we can finally realize my dream of Hannibal versus Hannibal versus Hannibal with Mads Mikkelsen, Anthony Hopkins, and Brian Cox as Hannibal Lecter in a movie in which the universes are all breaking down and 3 Hannibals are on the loose. And all 3 detectives, FBI agents, have to go on the hunt for him, and they have to team up. And it's kind of like the Expendables of serial killer films.
I'd watch that.
So
all right.
That's it.
All right. My number 4 wish is it stems from a brilliant idea.
Bless you.
It may have been mentioned on the podcast. I want to say I mentioned it on the podcast before, but it's a brilliant idea from none other than our very own Mouth Dork.
Oh, yes.
And I wish that his idea for the movie Keith David versus David Keith
What do you think's on my list? But you can take it.
would actually be
years ago.
made.
Yeah. Please. I agree with that as an excellent
years ago when I was a young disco.
I remember this too.
Brad mentioned that he had the idea for a story about the actor David Keith. Well, when he would get upset and angry, he would turn into Keith David.
Tell me that's not watchable.
It's amazing. And ever since, I laughed, obviously, as I'm doing right now, because it's fucking hilarious. But ever since then, I've been dying to see that movie.
That's the movie that's going to bring John Carpenter back.
Every time I see Keith David or David Keith,
Same.
I
always think of that.
I think of that pitch.
Every single time.
I think we were in Paul's parents' house when he told us.
Yeah.
Like, it was
a serious pitch.
Yeah.
I was ready, Hollywood.
Yeah, I need to see that movie. And if I had a wish, I would use it wisely on that.
I'm glad we have like minds, because that is my number 1. I'm changing my list.
I'm sorry I took your number 1,
that was
Brad.
my number 1.
All right. Brian. Oh, and my number 4 fish is the lionfish from The Naked Gun that he accidentally killed. That was Ricardo Montalban's. Brian, your number 3.
So my number 3, actually, this is a movie that is being made, and it's probably going to be one of my most anticipated movies of next year. You all know how much I love this cop duo. It's my favorite buddy cop film. It is Bad Boys for Life. But
you're wishing it for it to be good.
Well, of course. But my cinematic wish, although no offense against the directors, but my wish is that Michael Bay would have come back to direct Bad Boys.
What's he doing? That Ryan Reynolds thing?
Yeah, 6 Underground coming on
Please.
Netflix. I know. Well, let's wait till a trailer, but yeah, I agree. Man. Me and Darren have talked about this to death.
Yeah.
But man, if Michael Bay, I don't even care how long the lapse was between the second and the third movie. Granted, Bad Boys 3 probably should have came out years ago. But if you would have told me Michael Bay was coming back for this version of Bad Boys for Life, oh my God. Like, no, hands down would have been my most anticipated. It still is. But at least I know what I would be getting.
Who's directing it now?
Ali, it's these two Muslim directors. They've done some work on television. They've done The Snowfall that was produced by John Singh. Oh yeah, rest in peace. And they've done some indie films. Ali Arbi and another guy. I don't know if they're brothers, but and they've been tapped to they've been tapped to do some more Bruckheimer productions. I think Beverly Hills Cop 4 they're trying to get off the ground.
Please don't.
I know. But I'm interested to see what they're going to bring as new directors. But with that being said, Michael Bay, my God, if he would have come back to do Bad Boys 3, man. But yeah, so that's my number 3 wish.
All right. Wife Dork.
Yes.
Your number 3 wish and fish.
My number 3 fish is Gil, Bob's fish in What About Bob?
Oh.
That he takes everywhere with him. Yeah. That movie also scared me as a kid. I really took the side of the psychiatrist. I was just like, you know, some people should be allowed to leave work at work. That's how I felt the first time I saw What About
Boundaries.
Bob. Yeah. And then my number 3 wish is I wish I could switch bodies with her for just one day. Freaky Friday, the 1976 version with Jodie Foster. She is a swimmer. I might be confusing it with the Lindsay Lohan one, but I'm pretty sure it ends with a swim meet, and it's great. And Barbara Harris is also her mom, and she wears.
Seen those.
Yeah. Oh, it's great.
No,
Wasn't Jamie Lee Curtis in a Freaky Friday movie?
Yeah.
She was in the Lindsay Lohan one,
Lindsay
which
Lohan
I haven't seen the Lindsay Lohan one. Because why? The 1976 Jodie Foster one is perfect.
Yeah.
Ruth Buzzy is in it.
Okay.
She's also on Sesame Street.
So, Brad, you should watch that. And and she'll watch John Wick, and then you watch Freaky
Double
Friday.
feature.
Yeah.
That'd be an awesome double feature.
I'm down.
All right, you're number 3.
My number 3, I'm a major fan of the Richard Stark Parker novels. That starts with The Hunter. There's like 20 some of them.
Yeah.
20 some of them? That's a word. And Parker has been portrayed in one way or another by Lee Marvin, Mel Gibson, Robert Duvall, Jim Brown. I've always thought that Michael Shannon would be an amazing Parker. A real hard, mean crime mastermind. Not a mastermind, but a guy who just does not stop. A guy who always has a contingency plan as things are falling apart around him. I think, Michael Shannon as Parker. It doesn't necessarily have to be an adaptation of The Hunter. We could do Slayground. Peter Coyote did a version of Slayground. It's not particularly good. It's okay. But, put Michael Shannon as Parker in some adaptation, and I am there. And get, like, Joe Carnahan to direct it.
Oh, God. Love Carnahan.
So there you go.
Love that guy.
Speaking of Carnahan, my dad and Zach were watching The Gray yesterday when I stopped by the house to wash my car.
Nice.
All right. My number 3 wish is I wish Zack Snyder would have gotten to complete his vision for the Man of Steel character in Justice League in the DCEU. Post Justice League and the debacle that ended up being, Zack Snyder was releasing a bunch of posts on social media, little anecdotes and concept arts behind his ideas for Justice League, and he would also talk about the character of Superman and what he had ultimately planned through from Man of Steel, BVS, and then Justice League, and where he was planning to take that character. And he had always, based on what he was saying, he had always had the intention of ending with the Superman that most people were expecting in Man of Steel. His idea for that character was to have us go on this journey, or see Clark go on a journey to become the ultimate version of the Man of Steel. And I had read maybe about 2 or 3 months ago some of his ideas for what was supposed to happen in Justice League, and with the introduction of Darkseid and Superman's his resurrection, and how we were going to come back around to that nightmare sequence that that Batman, that Bruce Wayne had in BVS, and what was ultimately supposed to become of that. And even on its own, without what happened with Justice League and the hiring of Joss Whedon and all the reshoots and changes, even before all of that, just hearing his idea for this set of films and what he wanted to do with these characters, I've always been interested, but especially now in light of the Justice League that we actually got, I really wish that we would have been able to have him see his vision through, because, I'm in the unpopular opinion that I love all of Snyder's contributions to the DCEU. Like Man of Steel is my favorite superhero film. Like I love, because Superman's my favorite superhero.
And one of our most popular review casts was BVS, which all 4 of us adored.
Adored that film, and I rewatched it, and I still think highly of that film. And
Same.
so I would have been interested in Snyder being given an opportunity to finish what he had started, so we can ultimately see what he intended for the characters.
The wish being that he had been able to just not be steered by publicity, or not publicity, but public opinion and studio interference. If we had just had what he had intended after BVS.
Yep.
But that's the thing. Then going a little bit back to our Weekend Dork early in the week, when we were talking about Game of Thrones, it's like when we talk about fandom and then like the critical response on social media about not being able to let these artists really see like a long arc for a character, because especially when you try to do it in film, because movies take so long to make and there's so much time in between
and money involved
that it's hard to see an arc like how Zack Snyder wanted from Man of Steel to where he wanted, because that would have took years. And of course, once you get the response from one movie, then the studio starts to panic and then they want to change
what's
things.
Weird about the whole BVS thing is the movie made a ton of money, but the studio responded to the public opinion, which is strange. Now, people who really hated BVS, are they happy that the studio changed so that we got Justice League? No one's happy with Justice League, right? So to me, like, that's a perfect example of if you're going to hire a guy to do a thing, let him do the thing.
Yeah. Exactly, unless you let him see it through. Because now we're looking back in hindsight, it's like, damn, I wish I could have seen what he ultimately had throughout the whole course of, seeing that Superman arc. But
you may not have still liked it. Like, you may, like, if you did not like BVS, I'm sure you would not have liked whatever Zack Snyder's Justice League would have been. Yeah. But it would have been an actual movie and not this monster.
And maybe a continuous and cohesive narrative from Man of Steel to BVS to Justice League.
Exactly. But, like with the way fandom is, we don't have
I don't necessarily blame the fandom on that. I blame the studio.
Yeah, they could have said...
the studio's reaction to that response.
Sure.
Yeah, but no, I agree with that. But, I mean, there's been rumors that he could still tell that story in graphic novel form. So, I mean, it wouldn't be the same, but I still would like to see what his idea was. And if he does it in graphic novel form, that still would be kind of cool to see. Yeah. So.
All right. And my number 3, fish. It's not really a specific fish per se. It's fishes. And at least I'm going to need your help. What Muppet movie was the Swedish Chef? Like, it was one part where, like, he was throwing fishes everywhere. It was in 3D.
No, you're conflating two characters, because there's the character whose whole thing is that he throws fish, and then there's the Swedish Chef. There's a guy who throws fish and it comes back like a boomerang. That's the Muppet movie. I got it.
When they were in the movie theater and it was like in 3D and he was throwing actual fish in the audience.
Yeah. That was not the Swedish Chef.
That was what's his name?
That was New Zealand.
Yes, New Zealand. Yeah, so the fish that he's throwing at the audience when they have 3D glasses on in the Muppet movies, in the Muppet movie, when they're in the theater. So that
gross.
That's something
That's like that's the 4D experience. Like those they have that in Gallery Place now. They have a 4D.
So when you go see Aquaman, they're just throwing fish.
Yep.
When that
And
octopus
also trash and from the ocean pollution. Yeah. So Brian, your number 2.
All right, so I'm getting down to my top 2 fandoms, which everybody knows, no surprise. So number 2 is going to be Power Rangers. My wish is that I can get a sequel to the 2017 Power Rangers film with that cast that I absolutely love, and that we introduce the Green Ranger and get the Green Ranger arc from season 1 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers told cinematically, and we finally get the Green Ranger cinematically, evil Green Ranger to start off, because I would love to see evil Green Ranger go up against the other Rangers. We get introduced to Lord Zed, and we finally start to build out the mythology in this universe. And I wish that movie would have done
Isn't
better.
that? But aren't we getting a sequel to that movie though?
I don't know. I don't think we are. I mean, I think now because of like Hasbro buying the property and the IP, and they're talking about folding that in possibly to this Hasbro universe, or we don't know exactly what's going to happen.
You're not going to get that cast.
Exactly. I'm not going to get that cast who I absolutely love. I thought that was just perfect cast. For a Power Rangers fan who's a fan of the original Mighty Morphin series, to have those characters that's iconic to me and to have them cinematically portrayed by these actors, I thought was just perfect. And I love their chemistry together. But unfortunately, we won't get that. But I want a sequel with the Green Ranger.
Okay. All right, wife dork, your number 2, Fish and Wish.
My number 2, Fish, just to show that I'm sophisticated and educated and also watch documentaries, I'm going to use all of the fish that were turned into delectable sushi in the documentary Jiro Dreams of Sushi. I wasted all of this time when you guys were having deep conversations about all the possibilities of what if we were in an alternate universe and things I care about. I was madly trying to Google what type of fish Norman Osborn was eating in the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man's.
Bermundi? No.
But
Berengetti?
No, I can't find it. The internet doesn't know.
Jesus.
It does start with a B, I feel like.
You talk about your wish, and I'll let you know. Bernini? What?
My number... What number are we on? 2?
2.
My number 2 wish is the wishes that would fill my head every time Carrie Elwes would say, "As you wish," and then he would put his little baby blues right into the camera and...
Branzino.
Thank you. Jesus Christ. Branzino. You can't take that one.
Okay.
But anyway, yes, and he would say, "As you wish," and my little heart would skip a beat. It's one of my childhood favorite
And when
films.
he says "as you wish," what would your heart wish at that moment?
I wish that
the first time he says
I
it.
wish I were big so that I could make sweet love with Carrie Elwes. Specifically, not Saw Carrie Elwes. That would be weird.
Which Carrie Elwes?
Obviously Princess Bride Carrie Elwes.
Okay.
Dread Private Roberts. He doesn't even have to take off the mask.
Not Men in Tights Carrie Elwes. He has no tights.
Yeah, also Men in Tights Carrie Elwes. So yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, it's a great Princess Bride, great film.
Yeah.
And I like the part when he's falling down the hill. And he's like, "As you wish." And Buttercup is like, the only logical thing for me to do is also fall down a hill. So she falls down the hill, and they're both falling down the hill. And then they kiss on the bottom.
What?
Not
They kiss on the bottom?
On the hill.
All right.
But if we were to grant my middle school wish, it would be a kiss on the bottom.
All right, Brad, your number. What number 2? Your number 2 wish.
Oh, sweet Lord. My number 2 would be to get an animated Hellboy film in the style of Mike Mignola's artwork.
Okay.
I think
2D? You want 2D animation?
Yeah, 2D.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely 2D. Go back to get somebody like Don Bluth, or not Ralph Bakshi, but Don Bluth. I don't know. I think you could do it, with computers. Like, you could do it the real cheap way, like Teen Titans Go to the Movies, right? That 2D CG stuff. But I think it has to be 2D. I would love it to be Cell, but it's my wish, so why not Cell?
Cell, fuck
Cell.
that.
It's my wish. It's my wish. I don't have to worry about economics.
Yeah.
But yeah, to get a broody, somber, gorgeous, gothic romance of Hellboy.
What story?
I would actually like The Wolves of St. August, which is a werewolf story set in a monastery. It's pretty creepy. 80 minutes. I'm not asking for 2 hours. I'm asking for like an 80-minute movie.
Yeah.
I think it would look really damn cool. And I don't know who you would voice cast Hellboy.
That was going to be my next question.
Ron Perlman back?
No. Ron Perlman was never my Hellboy.
What do you hear? Is there a gruffness to him?
I hear like Michael Shannon. He's playing my Parker. Why not voice my Hellboy?
Is your wish?
Yeah, it's my wish. Michael Shannon is Hellboy.
Does he do a Hellboy voice or just a Michael Shannon?
He does a Michael Shannon voice. Yeah.
I can see
He doesn't
that.
need to put anything on.
Yeah.
Other than 2D cell animation.
I
Yeah.
can see that. That's cool.
And yeah, it goes up against some werewolves. Maybe make it even an anthology film, and then he could go to Japan and fight those floating heads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Michael Shannon.
Mickey Rourke?
Now I can see because
No,
when I look at Hellboy, I
Michael
think like
Shannon.
he sound like.
Michael Shannon?
I've decided. I'm leaning hard into Michael Shannon.
Has he done any voice acting before? He'd probably be great at it.
Not that I know of.
Yeah.
That's an inspired choice for a voice because when I look at Hellboy, I hear like a Vin Diesel or something, like a very like
I definitely don't hear Vin
weird
Diesel.
voice. But
In my Hannibal, I forgot to mention this in my Hannibal versus Hannibal, there would be another Hannibal, a fourth
Vin
Hannibal,
Diesel?
and it's Vin Diesel
because he wanted to play Hannibal.
play Hannibal
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
with the elephants.
Wait. So what's the first Hannibal? Who's the first Hannibal?
First Hannibal is Brian Cox.
Yeah.
Second Hannibal is Anthony Hopkins as Hannibal Lecter. And
Mads Mikkelsen.
Mads Mikkelsen as the third Hannibal, and then Vin Diesel is the Carthage, like the world conqueror.
All right,
Hannibal.
since you're using Vin Diesel to go outside of the serial killer Hannibal,
Yeah.
are you going to fail me and not have George Papard as the fifth Hannibal?
Sure, yes, we can have George Papard from the A-Team as the fifth Hannibal.
Okay.
But then you got to bring in Liam Neeson's Hannibal also.
Okay.
So this is 6 Hannibals. This is Hannibal versus Hannibal versus Hannibal versus Hannibal versus Hannibal versus Hannibal. Is that all 6 Hannibals?
Put that on the bill, the marquee.
Yeah.
Hannibal 6.
You know how like there's like that meme where it's like Spock and Kirk and Bones and then the ampersand and then so it's Hannibal, and Hannibal.
Let's do it.
All on a T-shirt.
Let's do it. Let's do it. All right.
I don't understand the origins of that meme, by the way. I'm so old.
My number 2 is. I know I said I wanted to see what Zack Snyder did with his full vision of the DCEU to include Justice League, but even above that, I wish that George Miller were able to have completed his vision for Justice League that was supposed to precede any of the DCEU movies years and years and years ago. There's supposed to be a documentary in works. It's probably already completed, just maybe looking for distribution or something like that, about that movie. Sort of in similar vein to The Death of Superman Lives, What Happened, that type of film, because there's a similar story from my understanding
I would
behind
love to watch that doc.
the George Miller Justice League film. And, over the years, he has released very little concept art from the film, but the failed film, but I've seen some of it, and just hearing his idea of what was supposed to happen. There was a script that circulated that was supposedly supposed to have been for that film that was bad. But I obviously given what he accomplished with Mad Max Fury Road and what that film means to me, I just can't help but to wonder what someone with that particular mind would have come up with a film that. But
if you got that, maybe you wouldn't have gotten Fury Road.
Well, I have other wishes, so I'm going to wish that Fury Road still exists and will always forever exist. But I still would have liked to have seen what he could have done, because never in a million years, would I have pictured Darren, George Miller is going to come back with another Mad Max film. And when that was announced, never in a million years would I have pictured that it would look and be what Fury Road was, right? So I can't fathom what his mind would conjure to represent these legendary titans, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Superman, The Flash, Batman, what his version of Batman would be.
Armie Hammer.
But how he would characterize, how he would have Armie Hammer characterize that Batman. Because from my understanding from that script, that Armie Hammer Batman was very much the Batman from Justice League Doom, who was skeptical of all superheroes, right? And so just to see, that represented in a live action form, because you got to think that's almost like I was taking, Ben Affleck's Batman and his cynicism to like a different level. And so, and just to see that through the lens of a master like George Miller, I curiously am interested in that. So that would be what I would use one of my wishes for. My second fish is the gefilte fish that that Chris Tucker couldn't pronounce in Rush Hour. So at the end of Rush Hour during the blooper sequence, he repeatedly was unable to pronounce that fish, and it was something that was used as a joke in the bloopers of that film, and it's just one of the things I just remember the most. So yeah, that's my number 2. Plus, I've never had it. It says it's a dish made from a poached mixture of ground deboned fish. Nope, never mind. All right, Brian, you're number 1. You're number 1. Your Fistful of Wishes. Now this is your last wish. Granted, you had unlimited wishes.
Oh, and this is a wish that I've been having for years. Sometimes I'll just randomly think about this wish.
Is it your David Keith?
It is. Yeah. Like I'll be at work and I'll just be thinking about it, and I'll mime some of the moves.
The Tito Bane and Pistol Whip movie?
No.
God damn it.
It would be nice to make that. But this is a Ninja Turtles movie directed by Gareth Evans.
Yeah.
And actually geared more towards not a hard R, but just a more adult oriented, a more mature version of the Turtles. I also see it kind of in the vein of Raid, where it does play almost like a siege film, where they're kind of making their way up a building. I'm assuming to try to maybe get to Baxter Stockman and the Foot Clan are like all chasing them, or they have to get up. And it's just basically just the 4 of them just like fighting Raid style.
Shredder in it?
Shredder is in it.
He's not at the top of the pagoda?
I mean, he's there. I see
like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar?
Are we getting Krang?
No. Okay. This is street level. This is all street level. Maybe no Bebop and Rocksteady. No. Karai is in it. There's a great scene between Leonardo and Karai in the rain on the rooftop.
Casey Jones
written this?
Hey man, I'm telling you, I've thought about this forever, and I could just see Gareth Evans. I mean, and this is action choreographed by Iko Uwais and his team, and I want this movie so bad.
Directed by Peter Berg.
No, hell no. Gareth Evans.
Is Taylor Kitsch Donatello?
Hell no.
Oh.
No. Not at all. But Gareth Evans has his fingerprints.
But can Frank Grillo be Casey Jones?
Ooh, he's too old though.
Says who? He's got a mask. Why not?
Yeah, he's too.
How about this be just Ninja Turtles? They're not teenagers anymore.
No.
Casey Jones is older.
They got to be teenagers. And April O'Neil is played by Anna Kendrick.
She's not too old?
Well, Anna Kendrick doesn't have to be like a teenager.
Oh yeah, because
she's a reporter. She's a reporter. So
are there reporters anymore?
That's a good question.
She's like a blogger, right?
It's a movie.
Oh, okay.
It's a movie. It still takes
place in the 80s?
It can take place anytime.
TV reporters.
Yeah.
Are they? They're just not respected.
Is it a period? Does it take place in the 80s, though?
No, it can take place at any time. Anytime. But this is just more so just the aesthetic of it.
Who's voicing it? I want all the voices.
The real turtles.
Is it animated?
No,
it's live action.
This is live action.
Okay.
I mean, I haven't voiced them yet.
Oh, you haven't voiced them?
I haven't voiced them. That's
what about Shredder? You got a cast for Shredder?
I was actually thinking Iko Uwais. Oh, no, Joe Taslim. I saw Joe Taslim.
Oh, that is good.
Yeah, I saw Joe Taslim as Shredder. Yeah. Because you can see him with or without the mask. And
he
can fight.
That's good.
Yeah. And we tell the backstory of Amato Yoshi and Oroku Saki in Japan, and as they come over to the United States.
As someone, I would kind of want a Japanese Shredder then if you're going to
Well, I mean, we could change it. It doesn't have to be Japan. I mean, it could come from Indonesia. Okay,
You would change.
I would change. I mean, look, it's the essence
of Turtles mythology.
It's just the essence.
Just like the anger that he can portray through a Shredder mask. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I've seen it, and I want it so bad. And I know it's going to happen. I'm going to will it to happen because they are rebooting Ninja Turtles, and all they got to do is...
Not going to be R-rated.
Yeah, they're doing another version.
He didn't
of
want it R-rated.
No, I mean just an adult version of it, not nothing gory.
Like a Dark Knight version.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, still have the fun-loving pizza vibe of it, but still
they're saying fuck once.
Do they get an F-bomb?
I mean...
And who drops the F-bomb?
Raph.
Can Casey drop the F-bomb?
Casey could drop it.
Oh, Raph. I think Raph.
Well, Raph could do it. Raph could do it. But yeah, I want to see that. But once they announce Gareth Evans, that's his next film.
Wait, is that real? Like, they're announcing that? They're going to say
this is his wish.
Oh.
This is my wish. No, but
I'm getting reality and his wish blurred right now.
They are rebooting it. But I'm saying once they reboot it, and my wish does come true, that Gareth Evans is directing this movie.
I hope we didn't curse it with the Peter Berg thing.
Please, no. I hope not, Brad. Please take that back immediately. But yeah, that's my number one.
All right, well, that's how you get me hyped for an Ninja Turtle movie.
I like Frank Grillo, Darren. I think Frank Grillo's a good pick.
Yeah. Lisa, your number one, your fistful of fishes and wishes.
So my number one fish, since this is in honor of Aladdin, and I started my fistful with the Disney fish, I'm going to end my fistful with a Disney fish.
Yep.
And I'm going to go with the long-tailed fish from the Nutcracker section of Fantasia. The do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do, and they're doing their sexy fish dance.
What?
Sex fish, Brad.
Is the seahorse there?
No.
No, Brian isn't there. You can't be everywhere.
And then, I'm not having babies.
Aw, man. This is... Gosh.
Sorry.
That came across very hashtag not all men. Not all men want to have
I mean, I would like... Oh, never mind. I'm sorry.
I don't know. Anyway. Then my number one wishes, my sister saw this coming from a mile away, is I wish more than anything, more than life, into the woods. All of the wishes at the beginning of Act 1 and the wishes at the beginning of Act 2, because nobody is satisfied, and that's the moral of the story. Yeah, and I'm not talking like the Chris Pine one. I'm talking about the 1991 American Playhouse cast video recording that I taped off of PBS as a child, or somebody in my house did. I'm taking credit, but it totally wasn't me. With Bernadette Peters.
I love her.
Joanna Gleason. Who doesn't?
Sorry, I didn't mean...
She is...
Involuntary response.
She's everything.
Yeah.
I wanted to be her so bad when I grew up.
Yeah.
But I didn't. I just turned out to be me, which is fine.
It's great.
Which is fine.
It's great.
Also, Ben Wright as Jack. Dreamy. He just wanted a friend.
Don't we all?
Cow is white as milk.
Thank you, Lisa, for your number one wish.
That was my number one wish.
Brad.
Well, I had to change things, remember?
I apologize, man. So in light of...
That is low, taking somebody else's wish.
It is.
That
I'm
was
so
just
sorry.
dirty.
You stole that wish.
I wish I could take it back. I'm sorry.
I've got a good one, though.
All right, what's your audible?
And this is a possibility. I mean, I think it's a slight possibility, but they recently... said that they're not going ahead with another Star Trek with the Chris Pine people.
Really?
S.J. Clarkson was going to direct the fourth one, and they, Pine and Hemsworth were asking for too much money, and so they shelved it.
No.
And but that doesn't mean that this other thing couldn't happen. And I've got my wish, so I'm gonna rub that dingle hopper.
All right.
And I'm wishing for Quentin Tarantino's Star Trek. There's rumors of that not too long ago.
That's right.
That sounds so weird and odd, and I know people are like, "What? Tarantino's aesthetic doesn't jive with Star Trek's aesthetic." And guys, Star Trek can be many things, and I think Tarantino is a big Trekkie, and I think he would come up with something that would feel true to the original series or whatever version he's thinking of. Like whatever he puts up, I want to see it. Like now that idea has been planted,
and it's going to be something unexpected because when you go into like Hateful Eight, you're not expecting that movie to be what that is.
And we have the Star Treks that we love,
right?
So if you're a big Voyager fan, you've got Voyager.
Yeah.
If you're a DS9 fan, you've got DS9.
Yeah.
Tarantino's Star Trek's not going to hurt your Star Trek. There's room for many Star Treks. We're getting. Star Trek Discovery still on the air. A lot of people are like, this isn't my Star Trek. That's okay, because you've got yours. Enjoy yours. Let people enjoy Discovery.
Yeah.
Picard's coming back in this fall.
Right.
Again, Brian, you need to get that CBS All Access.
That's going to be on CBS.
Yes, for Discovery,
Picard.
Twilight Zone, and Picard.
Yeah.
You need it.
So with this wish for Tarantino, are you like Brian giving him free reign of the story?
My wish is for Tarantino. I just want this to happen. My wish would be that I think what is most likely outcome is that Tarantino's story gets adapted into a film. But what I want is Tarantino's screenplay and I want Tarantino's direction on a Star Trek film.
Do you think he would direct the Star Trek?
Not if he's if he's only got 10 movies in him.
That's what I was saying.
And people would be like, to me, like, what a baller move to go out on your 10th film being a Star Trek film. So that's what I would want him to do. It's my wish. But then, of course, baked into that wish would be for Tarantino to realize that he should just keep making movies as long as.
That's what I was going to say. Do you think that's going to hold true as far as him wanting to do just 10 films?
I mean, I really don't.
Well, we
know.
don't. Yeah,
I think if he's going to do whatever he wants to do,
he'll go into TV.
Human nature tends to. Hey, he's re-editing films into miniseries, so he has a knack for that. But no, I want Tarantino to make his Star Trek film.
All right. My number one wish and Fish. Do you know what my number one wish is, Brad?
Bruce Lee not to have gone out the way that he did,
and complete his version of Game of Death.
Yeah.
He, because of his untimely passing, he was not able to complete Game of Death, and unfortunately, that means that we have the film that currently exists, which is
awkward.
Is awkward.
Wrong.
It's wrong. It's so many things with negative connotations. Really a poor way to honor someone so powerful in his presence in cinema history and then just in life in general. Bruce Lee was not only a man of film or in martial arts, but a man of philosophy. And it's something that we've talked about many times on the podcast. We even have a mini series of episodes dedicated to him and his film and his legacy. Please go back and give that a listen if you have not. And what he wanted to do initially with Game of Death is he wanted to use that film as a platform to explore his different ideals and philosophies. And similar to what we got in the final Game of Death, there would be multiple levels of this pagoda that Bruce Lee would ascend. And in ascending, he would visit different martial arts styles and masters on each level. And he would have to also not just ascend physically, but also spiritually and mentally, and before he reached the top. But it would also be an examination of his views on different martial arts, in that he never saw one greater than the other, and he never discounted any one martial art over the next. He always found value in each and every one of them. And this was his way of being inclusive in that, and then showing that, while he may be using Jeet Kune Do, this judo expert that he's fighting can be a formidable opponent through the techniques inherent in that martial art. And so, outside of just the structural difference of that film and how that would have been expanded more than what we got in Game of Death, everything else surrounding, the ascension in the pagoda would have been just more strictly geared towards Bruce Lee's philosophies. Whereas the Game of Death that we got now is really just an exploitative look at that character and how, his death was, Bruce Lee's real death was being exploited in that film. So there was some people who wanted the producers in the film who wanted him. They wanted him to star in a film some gangsters, right? It was some gangsters involved. I can't even remember now. He basically faked his death in the film. He was hiding from some bad people.
Yeah, the plot of Game
of Death. Game of Death, right.
And then they used footage of his funeral.
Funeral death, right. So his death was faked in Game of Death, but it had nothing to do with Bruce Lee or that character or with an exploration of, ideology and martial arts philosophies. It had nothing to do with that.
And they used doubles to finish shots of the fight sequences, and they're not good doubles. And in some cases, the doubles are wearing 2D cardboard Bruce Lee masks.
Yeah,
that you can absolutely see. It's
like
disgusting.
those masks that are handed out at the Alamo, and we hold up
that
in
are on
front
like a popsicle stick.
Right, it's literally like that.
You see a guy like turn, and you're like, that dude's face is 2D.
Yeah,
and then you see behind the 2D mask.
Yeah, it's very poorly done. It's very poorly done, and so I just wish that, he had gotten a chance to see his vision through and come to fruition. My final fish is it's not actually in a movie, it's in a music video for a song that is on the soundtrack of a movie, and it is the shark that LL Cool J morphs into at the end of the video for Deepest Bluest.
My hat is like a shark's fin.
Absolutely.
It was gonna be Jaws, but then Jaws was always a shark. That shark in that video was once LL Cool J, so I had to put that at the number one spot. Sorry, B. It's gonna do
Ladies love cool Jaws.
There, I see what you did there.
It was very easy to see. It was
easy.
Large and obvious.
You can hit us up on social media at ItModcast and let us know what your fistful of fishes and wishes are.
This has been a special one.
Yeah, I had fun with this
Seahorse?
one. You can find Seahorse
Yes, it has been.
at Big Dick Richie at The Turtle Dork on Twitter, Instagram, and at Brian William Young on Facebook. He's at The Turtle Dork 1 on Instagram. Wife Dork is at Sidewalk Siren on Twitter, at Sidewalk Siren on Instagram. She's also at Bake Dork on Twitter and Instagram, and she's at Sidewalk Siren on Letterboxd. Brad Gullickson is at Mouth Dork on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Letterboxd, and Untappd. And I am Darren Smith, the Disco Dork, on all social medias. That's going to do it for us. Thank you all for listening. Enjoy the rest of your week. Go see Aladdin and go see Brightburn. Go check that out, because one of those two might be our review cast.
And now, Darren, you're encouraging people to have seen Aladdin, and that includes yourself. You're going to see Aladdin. Go see Aladdin.
Yes.
I said go see Brightburn too.
Yeah, you did. But you said both.
Or you can go rewatch Endgame or John Wick 3 because it's great. And if you have time in between all that and your busy lives, then you go see Aladdin too. Okay?
Darren.
Huh?
Do you trust me?
I trust you.
That's a line from Aladdin.
No!
And then you get on my magic carpet with me.
All right. That's going to do it for us. Thank you all for listening. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And until next time.